Free agency bold predictions right now on Fantasy Football Today Express. All right, Jamey Eisenberg is here, and he's got some bold predictions for you. Lay it down. Give me a bold prediction.
Let's see. We'll go quarterback. I'm gonna say, do you want obvious or do you want crazy?
Well, just
like Kyler Murray to the Vikings. Is that bold?
That's fine.
That's not really bold, right?
No, not really.
So let's go quarterbacks. Let's go Mac Jones to the Vikings.
Okay. You know what would be even bolder? Daniel Jones to the Vikings.
Yes, but the Vikings have no money, so they're not going to be able to afford Daniel Jones. So they make a trade to get Mac Jones, and Mac Jones goes there and has the Sam Darnold season. So he's a relevant fantasy quarterback, and more importantly, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hockenson, they all get back to being trustworthy fantasy options. You're still clearly drafting Jefferson to be a must-start guy, but Addison and Hockenson are not, I think, in the starting range going into the season. But I think Mac Jones showed with Brian Thomas that he can elevate a fantasy receiver to the heights that we would love to see Justin Jefferson. And Kevin O'Connell can get the production out of Mac Jones to make Justin Jefferson back to that guy again, at least at the Carson Wentz level, which was just over 16 PPR points per game. He was a disaster with JJ McCarthy last year, as we know, just averaging over 10 PPR points per game. We need a better quarterback in Minnesota. So hopefully Mac Jones will be that guy.
Yeah. What do you think of the Tua to the Jets? Not the rumors that the Jets are interested doing their homework on Tua.
I mean, it makes sense. You're looking at a guy who's going to probably be very inexpensive because the Dolphins have to eat a big portion of that contract to move on from him. And so does he have the ability to elevate the team there? Nobody's going to draft Tua as a fantasy quarterback. So can he make Garrett Wilson into that type of player? Well, for the first 2 seasons that Tyreek Hill was in Miami, he had over 1,700 receiving yards. The only receiver ever do that in back-to-back years. So I think the answer would be yes for Wilson. Adonai Mitchell probably doesn't benefit as much because Tua doesn't have the ability to consistently help his receivers make plays down the field. At least that's what we saw really the last year and a half. So Mason Taylor, I think, would be fine. I think Garrett Wilson would be fine. Tua to the Jets is certainly a good landing spot for him.
He's 8-0 in his career against the Jets. He has owned them 72%.
Also struggled in cold weather, though. So not
yeah,
great.
It's true. Okay, give me another bold prediction.
Let's go running back. Let's go. I don't know again how bold this is, but Travis Etienne to the Chiefs. So let's look at that move. And he's somebody that in an Andy Reid offense, I think could be awesome. Just I don't know, Brian Westbrook type, but maybe Damian Williams type. When he was the first guy with Patrick Mahomes to be an excellent fantasy option. And I think this would keep Travis Etienne in a range where you'd be looking at him probably as early as round 3. We know he catch ball at backfield. That'd be great, especially if Mahomes is going to be limited with his rushing. So Etienne is almost certainly not coming back to Jacksonville. And I think that would be one of the best destinations for any running back, and then keeps them from having to draft Jeremiah Love, which is a rumor that we're hearing quite a bit for the first round for the top 10 in the NFL draft.
What do the Jaguars do in response?
So wouldn't shock me if they go cheap at the position and have a running back by committee. We know now that Sean Tucker is going to be free. That's a guy that Liam Cohen's had some success with and history with in Tampa. So that could be part of the running back mix with Bashal Tutin. You could see a guy like maybe J.K. Dobbins, for example, who's bounced around now for the last 3 years, at least last 2 years, Chargers and Broncos back-to-back. So he said he wants to be a Bronco for life, but maybe the opportunity to go to a team like Jacksonville where there's a clear-cut starting job available as opposed to in Denver where maybe R.J. Harvey has earned a bigger role, especially if the Broncos, which is a rumor that they're considering Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, that's going to be my bold prediction.
Walker to the Broncos?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, I don't know how much sense it makes. I think it's an indictment on RJ Harvey personally. And
they're making it very clear that they do not view Harvey as a lead running back.
Yeah, it's disappointing. And they had so much success with J.K. Dobbins. I'm a little surprised that they seem to want to explore other options, at least according to one report. But
would you want a guy that can't stay healthy versus a guy that was just a Super Bowl MVP?
For the price that obviously I'd rather have Ken Walker. But if you
can afford
it. Let's see, the Broncos, they are in decent salary cap space, but it's not where I'd be allocating my resources.
I agree. But, look, Sean Payton's success has come with a strong run game.
I also don't know how good it'd be for Walker because I don't know how many passes he'd catch. I think he'd be really good.
Well, that would not be the most ideal landing spot for him. That being said, J.K. Dobbins was good, and I think Walker at this point in his career is better. Offensive line, we've talked about this quite a bit over the last couple of years. Like, they've built out their offensive line to a point where it's one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
And now you have Sean Payton, who throws to his running backs on first and second down. So third down work, yes, probably disappears, but I think Ken Walker could do worse than going to the Broncos.
All right, we're going to take a break and get maybe one or two more bold predictions from Jamey after this. Okay, let's get back to it. More free agency bold predictions. What do you got?
Yeah, my dog doesn't like these. Let's go. We know Alec Pierce is going to be the most popular wide receiver free agent. Let's go with you teased this a little bit. I was thinking about this when you asked about receivers going to the Patriots. Let's go Wan'Dale Robinson to the Patriots. And Josh McDaniels' history with slot receivers is obviously very successful. And I think Wan'Dale could still be very good, if not great, if they don't necessarily address the positions. Let's say they whiff on everything, and it's Wan'Dale, it's Kayshon Boutte, it's Kyle Williams, and another day 2 or day 3 wide receiver. So somebody that may be good but doesn't necessarily step in right away and command targets. I think that could be great for Wan'Dale. So I think Wan'Dale Robinson would be a very sneaky fantasy option once again. Never going to get him as late as you got him this year, but a good guy, a good number 3 wide receiver that can, sort of be like that Jacoby Myers guy, can be a weekly starter for your fantasy team.
Yeah, their slot receiver last year was Stephon Diggs, and he had 1,000 yards. Very good season. Let's say Wan'Dale goes to the Patriots and Stephon Diggs, bold prediction, goes to the Falcons. Who would you take first?
Wan'Dale.
Okay. You got another bold prediction? One more?
Let's go tight end. And I think we're all kind of waiting to see what happens to Isaiah Likely. I don't think he's going to the Falcons now, which was one of our preferred destinations. So I'm going to tie him to John Harbaugh, and he goes to the Giants. And I know they like Theo Johnson and what he was able to do at times last year, but I think Likely's a much better receiving threat. So let's say they whiff on what they're looking to do, so they don't get another big name free agent, and they don't get Carnell Tate, and they also go day 2 wide receiver, just to sort of, backfill there. Likely could end up being second on the team in targets behind Malik Neighbors. Like, that would be a great situation. I think any opportunity where Likely could be second on the team in targets, it's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully he ends up with the right team and, can have an opportunity to make a lot of plays.
Is there a better destination for Likely, you think?
I'm sure there is.
I really like him. How about the Commanders?
I like Ben Sinnott, so I'd like to see Sinnott get an opportunity. Miami.
Yeah.
With the right quarterback. I just hope it's not one of those situations where he gets paid to go to the Browns, or gets paid to go to, Atlanta, thinking that they're going to use Pitts for 1 year and this is their 2 pass catchers. One of those crappy situations where there's already a guy there.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. The same situation he's been in with the Ravens wouldn't be great. But all right, that's it for our bold predictions. We'll find out pretty soon if they're going to come true. For Jamey, I'm Adam. This is FFT Express. Got to stay tuned. We're going to have a lot for you during free agency week. See you later.